We back and in full effect, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It feels like it's been a kind of a long month on the low. I don't know about you, but this
I was about
this
to say,
month,
yeah. You say you're good, but like it doesn't sound like it. You know?
nah, life is just moving. I just feel like I'm always constantly trying to feel like, am I keeping up with everything that's going on? And the answer
Right.
is undoubtedly no.
No. Right.
But am I like relatively behind pace where I feel like, oh, it's cool, I can get to it tomorrow, and like that's like a realistic thing? Which the answer is always no. But I leave it till tomorrow anyway because procrastinators come procrastinate.
That's
You know what I'm
what
saying?
procrastinators do. If there's one thing that we don't procrastinate about, it's procrastination, which
That's right.
is ironic in and of itself.
I'm gonna get
It's
right to
like a
that
Russian
procrastination.
Russian nesting doll of like a lack of responsibility.
Yeah. First thing I do as soon as I get home is I sit on the couch and think about all the stuff that I'm gonna do, and then it's like,
You brainstorm it, so you feel like
I-
what was it, Stu from fucking from Hangover with all the numbers and shit flashing across, and then you do none of those things.
exactly. Like it's
Because
a
also like
hard
Stu,
like
you pop a pill and then it's just gone. It's out your brain.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
also how I wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning thinking about all the things I'm gonna do, and then
Hmm.
it's like I've sat here for 20 minutes and I could have been in the shower by now.
That's how I started
So
my vacation. Actually, like
yeah,
I'm like this is literally the last day of my vacation. I'll go back to Red Lobster tomorrow. Um, but the first couple of days of the vacation, I just had a whole checklist in my head of like what I really needed to get done, what I wanted to do. It's the start of spring, so homeowner shit.
yeah.
I had to go and do that initial mow of the yard because it gets bad when like the local neighbors start knocking on your door multiple times, like, "Hey,
Oh, that
Bobby, you need me to
yeah.
cut your?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." Like, are you sure? I'm gonna come
that
back tomorrow when
that
that's
that
okay.
homeowners
you
association.
know,
They're like, hey, buddy.
well, luckily for us, we don't have an HOA in our area,
Yeah,
so we don't have to pay people to tell us what we can and can't do with our property. So
respect.
we run free reign. Thankful that was a big selling point for me. But no, it's just like literally the last person. It was a nice Hispanic gentleman came the other day, the second day into my vacation, knocked on my door, asked if I need help cutting the lawn, and I was literally, ironically, I was finishing getting ready to go out. I had all my batteries set up and everything. 'Cause
Hmm.
I got the battery powered lawnmower and shit.
Check you out.
So yeah, fancy
You
fancy
got the
stuff.
Ryobi, the Ryobi.
Yeah, the Ryobi joint.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was trying
I
to think
have,
of the
I
name,
have,
but I was like, I can't think of the name.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
I have
so
no
like
experience with any of that. I just see the commercials. So, but it
honestly,
always
it's
looks great
way
on the
easier.
commercial.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is great and it's super convenient, and it's like it gets through what it needs to get through. I don't think that you could have like some kind of like live on acres and get away with a Ryobi or whatever it is, but like it gets the job done. Like I'm not some landscaper or anything like that. Like my yard looks good. It gets cut down the way it needs to get cut down. I got a weed whacker that I can turn to the side and I can edge the grass and the sidewalk so I don't have like little ferns growing over the cracks in my sidewalk. I can do all that stuff and make everything look prim and pretty. And I got hedge trimmers and everything. So we got the whole kit and caboodle. We
Check this
we
guy
try to
out.
make it. Yeah, we curb appeal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
like it. I like it.
yeah.
You could
We
be in a
do.
Lowe's commercial or something.
I'm saying. Dum, 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 dum. You know how I get down.
Yeah.
But nah, man, it's been an interesting vacation to say the least, coinciding with first of all my wife's birthday. Happy belated to my lovely wife
Happy
Jasmine.
birthday. Happy
It
birthday.
officially turned 30, so welcome to the old folks club.
Yes.
So
It's
we
all
was up.
downhill from here.
Well, you know, we know that better than others, but we'll get into um that a little bit later because it kind of merges into some things that we want to talk about later. But coinciding with this vacation was also the start of March Madness, and as a college basketball fanatic,
Dirty soda
really,
in the styrofoam.
that's my it's my shit. This what I
Yeah.
came up on is college basketball. It's a big thing in the Northeast where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
And the first week of March Madness is always fun and a little added incentives once Vegas gets involved. So it's definitely taken on a new life for me over the last 2.5 years since I've started degenerate gambling and things of that nature. So it's been an interesting first round, first couple round weekend that we did. I tried to stick mainly to the main tournament. I wasn't going on like the NIT and all that shit because sometimes players don't play. They enter the transfer portal and they're like, "Hey, this ain't the main tournament. I'm just gonna get out of here, whatever it is." So it kind of changes the way you would gamble that. But I've been getting hit over the head.
Mm.
My bracket was looking so pretty, and then Iowa happened. I'm gonna forgive the first round shit, the high point shit in the first round. I'm gonna forgive that.
You forgiving it? I'm not forgiving it.
I'm forgiving it. I had Wisconsin making it, but I'm gonna forgive that. No one saw a high point coming. Whatever. But this round of 32 that just happened over the last couple of days has been nasty. It was nasty. Like Iowa beating Florida was disgusting. Honestly, it was one of those rare double losses because in my bracket I had Florida beating Iowa in that game. So I did have Iowa making it that far, but I had them losing to Florida in that round. But on my bets, I like to bet the props, so I bet on Bennett Sturts, the star from Iowa, to hit 3 threes.
He's a hooper.
Right. So I was like, one of these two things is going to happen. So either my bracket's going to be correct, which seems more likely, or he's going to catch fire from 3 and maybe send Florida home. And if that's the case, at least I actually won some money because I don't get any money from my bracket. And neither one of those things happened. Florida lost, and Bennett Sturts was 0 for 8 from 3. So, or 0 for 9, I think it was. So, it's just kind of like fuck you from the gambling gods.
I mean, is it better that he was 0 for 9 instead of 2 for 9 and missed like 6 straight at the end? Because then you would have gotten your hopes up and you'd have been like, oh, we good. And then he would have missed 6 straight and everyone would have just hurt even more.
Nah, because it was one of those things where you're just confused as to like how the other team could lose this game. A team as talented as they just won by an NCAA record. They had all these records that they broke in that first round game that they had against, the 16 seed that they played. And, they looked like the most dominant team. I get it. It's a 1 versus a 16, but Siena had Duke on the ropes for most of the game. We were talking about that in a moment. So it's not like these lower seeded teams don't have an opportunity to make some noise. And Florida just blew them out of the water. Like they were playing the subs for the last 4 minutes of the game. So to go from that to looking how they looked against Iowa that was nasty work. I had Gonzaga moving on. They ended up losing to Texas. I don't understand, man. I don't get it. It's like first 64 goes good, and then when I get to the round of 32, it's just like a house of cards. One upset happens, and then it's
Well, I think part of it is, by the way, the only two teams that have a high seed, low seed. I'm never sure which one means which, but the
high
seeds,
seed. We go high seed.
The higher numbers, the lesser quality teams.
Low seed. Yeah, so low seed.
There's only 2 of them. There's a number 9 and number 11, right? So we didn't have like a ton of crazy upsets going into this week 16. But to your point about the whole round of 32 games, I mean, you just played, a game on either Thursday or Friday. So you're all juiced up. You probably, had a big win. And I think part of that comes into play where like you're just not ready for the quick turnaround and then scouting for another team, granted, I would think the coaches would the bracket set, so you probably have seen some film on all these teams just a little bit, but I mean it's tough. It's tough to get all the way through the whole thing. It's tough to get through the first weekend, but I was actually pretty good. Like I think people kind of looking at them like whatever. Like you guys are just in the way, but like we said, Sturts is a hooper. They got some good players on that team. And even when he didn't play well, they still were able to get a win over Florida, which I think I'm more impressed with Iowa than I am like mad at Florida.
I mean that it was really just the inner degenerate gambler in me that was upset with Iowa, and really was just Bennett Sturts, and it more so extends because through the Big Ten tournament that he was in. Now in Bennett Sturts, I should say I won a lot of money on him last tournament when he was at Drake, because not a lot of people really knew who he was, and so it kind of caught them as a surprise when they won that first round game and he was hitting threes and doing all kinds of things. And then they transferred with his coach when his coach went up to Iowa to take that job. And he's been just as impactful, hasn't been afraid of the moment. And just over the last 4 or 5 games, I would say, he's been killing me. Like Bennett Sturts used to be an automatic for me. And then he has just been killing my pockets to the point where like now, he's a persona non grata. Like I don't care how favorable the lines are for me, and how like I think the line for his threes this coming weekend are like 2.5 threes, which normally would be easy. Like, yeah, throw some money on that. Not touching it. And he'll probably get it in the first half because I didn't touch it. So you're welcome in advance, Iowa fans. I'm going to keep my stink off of all of your players.
Okay, good. I'm about to hammer it then.
You need to.
For
you
you.
need to.
I'm
The
gonna do
way
it for
that things
you.
have been going for me gambling wise, like
Yeah.
I sent you some of my slips yesterday. Like it's been like there's ways to lose.
Yeah.
It's nasty the way that I've lost so much shit, man.
Getting beat by the hook is tough. You had a couple.
So that's what it's called, the 0.5. I've been calling it 0.5. Beat by the hook sounds so much cooler.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that now.
Yeah. I mean, that actually went in my direction because
you took the under.
No. Well, I mean, I wrote 3 games for Thursday, wrote 2 for Saturday. One of the games was VCU UNC. I took UNC to cover -2.5. We all know what happened. Straight up pain.
Speaking of RIP to Hubert Davis. Well, not RIP.
Yeah, right.
Shouldn't say that, but
I mean,
happy trails. See you in Cancun, my buddy.
Check update your LinkedIn, brother. Like Meek Mill. So UNC screwed me, but I took I took South Florida to cover 4.5 against Louisville, and they literally it was the most beautiful backdoor of all time. 2 missed free throws to seal it. You love to see it. You love to see it. And then what was the other one I had? Oh, I had St. Louis in Georgia over 79.5 to in the first half. And that first half, I don't know if you saw that game, but St. Louis
they was beating the shit. I was following the box score because I actually took Tamika Catchings' nephew. I took his
it was a lot of guys related to WNBA players in that game. Yeah. I was like, what?
Did they pick Dominique Wilkins' son comes off the bench for them. Jeremiah Wilkins, and then Cannon Catchings is a OTE graduate who is is the nephew of WNBA Hall of Famer Tamika Catchings, and of the Indiana Fever fame. But he's been good all year, and he had been really riding a high coming out of the SEC tournament. He's been hitting a lot of threes. He's been really versatile. He's one of those stretch forwards. He's not quite a power forward, but not quite a small forward. But he's big enough to play both positions and nimble enough to play both positions, and he can shoot the three stretch of floor. Big wing, 6'9" guy. So, but yeah, he 0 points on 0 of 11 shooting. It was nasty for him. I took him for his line was only 15, so I was like, oh, this is a steal. And lo and behold, it was not a steal.
Yeah, well.
They shut that shit down.
It was great for St. Louis. They was running the floor. My boy Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was cooking. They were doing a thing. But yeah, so my bets for the first day, I went 2-1. Second day, I took LIU to cover on against Arizona.
Right.
That did not happen. The line was 30.5. I'm like, they can cover 30.5, and they lost by 34. It's tough. Brutal. And then the other one, Iowa and Clemson, I had the over 129.5. They scored 128 points.
Yeah, I could have told you to fade that one.
Yeah, I was between two bets, and I was like, I'm gonna take the over because the trends. I mean, that's really what I've been going off of. This is what the trends say. I don't watch a ton of college basketball, so I can only do so much in terms of reading, but I think that's good because I'm not bringing any bias to these games, right? I'm looking at these teams, I'm looking at these games. It's here's what the data is going to tell me, right? And I think that's the best way to approach it. And we were 1.5 points away from getting that. 1.5 points. We were 2 points away from getting. Can you score a half a point in college basketball?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. If you hit the 1-on-1,
that's 1 point.
Yeah. I try to make you feel better, but
it's fine.
Mission failed.
Hey, listen. I can own my mistakes, and
that's very adult of you, Malik.
I try to be. So we'll see, man. You'll be happy to know that I will be writing the New York Post's breakdown for St. John's versus Duke.
No, I'm not going to be happy. You know why? Well, first of all, career wise, love that for you. Shout out to my boy. You know
Why
what
you?
I'm
Thank you,
saying?
thank you.
Out
But why
here
you hating though?
doing it big.
Why
One,
you
you're
why you
from.
assume that
I'm
it's
going to
gonna go
start.
against you? Why you
I'm
assume
starting
it's gonna?
here because you are from Queens. Okay.
So
We have had multiple conversations, both on and off air,
yeah,
about your affinity for St. John's basketball. So we're not even like I'm not going
do like
into
St.
this
John's.
expecting to hear anything positive from Duke, which also, by the way, as a Duke fan, you come to understand that most of your friends and random strangers at bars who no idea who you are going to be against you, because it's like being a Yankees fan in every other section of the country outside of the Bronx, because people fucking hate Duke. So even if you don't love St. John's, you love to hate the Duke Blue Devils, um, regardless of the fact that they have been one of the most consistent programs over the last few years. And unlike what has happened with Hubert Davis in Carolina, John Shire has taken the reins from Coach K, and some might even argue elevated the program in terms of um, recruiting profile. Coach K won with his guys, a lot of them coming from Midwest, Chicago area, and John Shire has bucked that trend and has gone to, he has adjusted well to the NIL era, and he's getting the best players, and not only that, but he's building good teams. So I'm looking forward to that St. John's game. I'm going to give you a little insight. Take the
Oh,
under.
please.
Take the
Oh,
under.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And if you can,
Um,
I don't think you can bet on that in New York. I think you can't bet on New York college teams in New York, if I'm not mistaken, at least on FanDuel,
you can't. No,
which is
not in
stupid,
New
but
York. You
I
can bet
get it.
on it in New Jersey. Um,
Oh
or
yeah, you live
basically
in
anywhere
Jersey, so you
outside of New
good.
York. Yeah.
Yeah, you good because you in Jersey,
Um,
so you'll be able to
yeah.
at least throw
So
some on the game.
yeah, I mean, listen, you said a lot of interesting things. One of them being
Mhm.
that you think John Shire is better than Coach K,
It's not what I
which is
said at
crazy.
all.
That's
It's
all
not
I'm
what I said
taking
at
it
all.
there. I'm just taking
Don't
it
do
there.
it. Okay, well, not what I said. I will retract how I felt, because going into the John Shire hire, I don't know if I had said it on the pod or not, but I was a little reticent, because I wanted Jeff Capel to take over. I thought he was the superior recruiter, um, and I thought that would be the biggest part about making people not think about Coach K, which has happened to be the truth. Being able to recruit well and get the best players to Duke, and to get them to play like their recruiting profile would have you believe, that is a big part about cementing your legacy and replacing one of, if not the best, college basketball coach of all time, depending on how you view John Wooden at this point. So
The
John Shire
winningest
has done
coach
it.
of all time. Yeah, I
I
think
don't
John Wooden.
know.
Okay,
That's like saying Red Auerbach is the best coach of all
I
time.
didn't say he was the best. I said he's the
No.
winningest.
Oh, winning is, yeah.
Yeah.
This is just a it's
They
just a
fucking
fact.
named an award after him.
Yeah, because he was first. If Coach K and Wooden were coaching in the same era, they would be called the, well, no, it would still be called, because it's really hard to pronounce Krzyzewski. So
Yeah, yeah. Not to mention like several undefeated seasons where they just fucking dominated everybody. But go ahead.
yeah, pretty easy to do when you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and fucking Bill
Oh
Walton
yeah. Oh no,
on your team.
Duke
I'm
doesn't
just
have
saying.
enough good players. This is why people hate Duke, because this is you.
I'm not
You
saying
literally
that.
just
I'm
tried to
just
make it
saying
seem like you some poverty fucking
undefeated.
franchise.
I'm not
Relax.
saying that. I'm saying undefeated season. Like, look at the Duke team when they had Shane Battier, Mike Dunleavy, and Jay Williams. It's a back-to-back national championship team,
Okay.
because they had
No
the
one's
horses. We
saying that
didn't
they're
have
not
them.
good.
No, I'm not saying that. When I wasn't saying it to disparage
Yeah, don't
Coach
put some
Wooden.
respect on John Wooden, yo.
I wasn't saying it. I was just saying when you have those kinds of horses
Yeah,
that are just built different in that way. That's how it's going to happen.
yeah.
You
One
want to
day,
impress me? Do it win back to back the way Jay Wright won back to back. Now that is impressive.
yeah. No, one day Duke will be able to recruit some good players. For now, they'll just have to settle for the sons of former NBA players.
Hey man, yeah. Cooper Flag not too shabby either.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
also good
yeah.
about that is that you get the bloodline with it. You know what I mean? Like, so
That's true.
you're recruiting Cameron Boozer, but it's kind of like two for the price of one. And it's not to disparage Caden, who was also a McDonald's All-American and a good player in his own right.
Very good.
Um, but it's kind of like they're coming as a package deal. Like, when's the last time twins chose a different school? You know what I mean? So it's like If we
That's a
can
good
convince the
question.
better twin to come here, then we can probably, get the package deal of both twins coming,
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think twins have ever done.
No, actually, ironically enough, I think Cooper Flag is a twin.
Get
And
out of
his
here.
Yeah, I think he's a twin. And his
Like
twin
an
brother
identical
goes,
twin?
I don't know if they're identical, but his brother goes to like Maine or something like that, University of Maine or some shit like
Damn.
that.
So
He goes to a different school up north.
he's clearly not the better
Black sheep,
flag.
yeah. Not even, you know what I'm saying? Not even the Caden to his Cam Boozer, not even the Markeith to the Marcus Morris.
Yeah.
He is just, it's Cooper Flag, and then I don't even know his brother's name. And Cooper Flag was on our team for like a whole year just last year.
He's like,
Completely
I didn't even
forgot.
bother to find out.
Yeah, didn't even think about it. Didn't even think about it. But no, I mean, but that's the beauty of March Madness, man. Like anything can happen. So happy for those boys in St. John's. The way that they were able to just hold on and finish that game when it looked like Kansas was about to grab by the reins and
Mhm.
escape with a victory. I mean, that kid, he's gonna remember that moment for his entire life. And thanks to his coach kind of jabbing at him in the presser, he kind of has that extra sound bite to kind of help that moment live even longer than maybe it would have. It's not quite Bryce Drew stuff because it was a layup and not like a 30-foot three, but for that to be your only points of the game, and for
Crazy.
you to be a relative nondescript player, like this guy is going to be somebody's lawyer one day and going to be telling,
Or,
you know what I
well,
mean? Going to be telling people like, damn, you're pretty tall for a lawyer. You used to, yeah, I used to play basketball.
yeah. Yeah,
Bring up the
yeah,
clip
yeah.
on YouTube, just
Look
like,
me up.
oh,
Yeah.
look at this clip. I wasn't even looking for it.
Yeah. How did that get on the big screen? Oh wow. Sorry. I know this is
Right. Oh man.
a pretty important meeting, but guys, chill. Like, please don't pull up my highlights.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm really happy for your boys, and I know that you're not gonna be rooting for Duke. If you had to bet now, take your St. John's hat off,
I
just
love how
looking at
I
the
got a
game
St. John's
objectively.
hat. I never said that, but go ahead.
You got a St. John's hat. You do.
I'll own it, but I'm just
We're
it's just
both
funny.
Hampton fans because that's where we went, but
Yes.
realistically, our team hasn't made the tournament in forever. So, um, if you take your St. John's hat off and just go at this objectively as a person, not just a person who knows sports, which you do know, but gambling better than a lot of the people that I know. So how would you bet this line? What would you look for in this line? What things are you going to be looking for? Give
Man,
us a sneak peek into your article, man.
man, you put me on the spot. I haven't done all my research yet. I mean, obviously, you expect Duke to be the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost certain that they're
Yeah,
probably
they're gonna
a
be the
two
favorite.
possession favorite at the least. I'd say somewhere between 6.5 to 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and people are going to want to bet St. John's just because, to your point, people don't like Duke. I also feel like Duke, because of the way that the first two games went, at least the first game and then the first half of the second game,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like they're still kind of trying to find some rhythm. And that could just be the jitters. But in this particular format, you don't have enough time to like work that out, right? It's not a 7-game series. You don't get a chance to like regroup. It's the game, you're playing the game, and if you start slow, like you got to make a huge comeback if you the way they did against Siena. So that I think that has me a little I won't say concerned because I don't care, but that's something that I would definitely look at, like their starts, and see if that's like a trend that plays out through the rest of the season where they kind of maybe started slow and picked it up in the second half, because obviously they have way more talent. Like they have
Mm-hmm.
at least 2 guys that I can see who look like they could play in the NBA next season, between Boozer and what's my man?
Isaiah Evans.
Evans, yeah.
Yeah.
Who I really like. He kind of reminds me of like a more, I don't want to say more athletic, but like a more shifty version of like Ingram, because he's
Mm-hmm.
like pretty slim,
Well,
but
that's what they call him. Is he's baby Ingram is what they like to say, because Brandon Ingram
I
was
see
like
it.
6'9"
Yeah.
when he was at Duke, and Isaiah is 6'6", so he's more of a 2 guard. Brandon
Yeah.
Ingram was like, he played the 4 for Duke, the 3 and the 4 for Duke when he was there. Now he's kind of like more of a hybrid, just like we were talking about with Cannon Catchings, hybrid wing player.
But you can see it. You can see the similarities in their game. And yeah, I mean, that's just two guys, right? Like, I mean, Duke could have
Patrick
5
Gumba is
guys.
another one. We just got back for the TCU game.
Right, yeah.
And he's going to be maybe not a lottery pick, but he'll be picked by, I don't think he'll make it deep into the 20s. He'll be picked by, like, I would say by in the top 25 of the NBA draft as well. 7-footer, can pass, rebound, block shots, protect the rim.
Yeah.
You
All
know
the
what I
things
mean?
you want in a big man.
Everything
at
that
the
you
next level.
want and could possibly need out of a big man. He's got a little bit of I would say he's got a little bit of Isaiah Hartenstein in him, which you should know very well as a Knicks fan. Not that we're building draft profiles for these guys, but if I'm thinking of something that somebody can think about as a big man, that's like, you're not going to think of him for his offense, and he might not even wow you in the box scores, but he's going to do the stuff that drives the opposing team's fans crazy. Like Hardenstein, just always those back tap Tyson Chandler rebounds, fighting for the ball, walling up on defense, changing and altering shots without fouling, and then a better passer than you might give him credit for. There was a lot of the big part of Duke opening up in the second half against TCU was, and another thing that makes John Shire such a great coach is his adjustments on the fly, is that they moved to more of a horns look. And instead of playing through Boozer, they were playing through in a lot of the ways they were playing through the high post and Patrick Gumba and letting him dictate who would get the ball and work to get the ball into Cameron Boozer's hands in a more advantageous position. So I would say, as a Duke fan, the teams that you're looking for Duke, they're two different teams. There's the team that against Siena that starts off slow and then figures it out after halftime and finishes the job. They've done that a couple of times this season. And then there is the team that you may or may not have seen in the game against Texas Tech on a neutral court a couple of months ago, where they have the game in hand, double-digit lead in the second half, and then just mistakes, poor guard play, and, for lack of a better word, just like piss poor free throw shooting down the stretch cost them that game and a chance that was their first loss of the season. And it was a game they were up double digits with like 7 minutes left in the game. So while this team is a lot tougher, I think, than that Cooper Flag led Duke team, which was a really good team, but like Houston just out toughed them. And I'm not afraid of a team out toughing this Duke team. I think they're very gritty and tough, especially on the interior.
Yeah.
But they're not the athletes that Duke team was. And even though they do have some good size, St. John's has the best defensive interior player in Zubi Ejiofor in college basketball, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see that their best defender and honestly their best player plays the exact same position and is the best defender of that position as Duke star and Cameron Boozer. And he's not going to be able to just jump over you like AJ DeBonson might have been able to, or Darren Peterson or whatever. He's going to have to go through you and around you. And that's the matchup I'm going to be looking at.
I mean, that's definitely the most important matchup, right?
Yeah.
Because
this is what's going to get Boozer cemented into the top 5 of the draft. That's why I'm thinking people that have Boozer stock, if you
kind of funny,
he's going to get drafted top 5, take the over if you can bet his prop for points. If you don't think that he's worth drafting in the top 5 of the NBA draft, fade him, take the under. But he's going to have to look to score in this game.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people, especially coaches on St. John's team, is probably looking at the other way. They're like, this guy is the guy that everybody's saying is the best player in the country. So your job is to make sure that he does not look like the best player in the country, right? Like that's your entire job tonight, or whatever time the game is. But
yeah, 7-10.
Yeah,
and Duke, by the way, is 6.5 point favorites in that game.
There you go. Look at that. So yeah, we'll see. You know, I think definitely I would definitely want to see what the lines are for, if they even offer head-to-head points between the two of them, because Zuby's also there. He's just their best player, period.
Best passer, best defender, all of that.
He's the heart and soul of the team. And to your point about, you know, the toughness aspect, like that's definitely St. John's is going to bring that. So we'll see if Duke really is a tougher team than last year's team. Because I mean, I understand what you're saying in terms of the toughness. Like Houston is just a different animal. Like they're just like 5 fucking guard dogs.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, it was just Duke should have won that game. Like I get in,
Cooper
a lot of
had
my friends were,
the ability to shoot over the guy at the last second and just missed
well,
it. It was
they
a shot
lost the
that I
game
know he'd make.
because of that terrible Australian point guard that I will not name. You know what I mean? Like that's really what it was. And I knew that it was gonna come to a head when the season started and he was still on the team. I never understood the appeal of him as a player, and it cost us. He missed 2 very key free throws late in that game. But what it really was like their lottery pick big man that everybody was in love with, Kaman Malawach, 7'2", didn't have a rebound in the whole game. I think he had 0 rebounds for the whole game. Like that just cannot. It cannot. And on the decisive putback where they finally took the lead or tied it up, I can't remember which it was. I think it was like JoJo Tugler with like a putback off of like a free throw or something like that. They just didn't box him out. And JoJo's like 6'7", 6'8", and outworks a 7'2" big man who was a lottery pick to get a putback lay-in. It's the madness of March. But this team, I don't think I'm not as worried about that. More Malik Brown minutes. Love Malik Brown, transfer from Syracuse that we got last season. More of a role this year because our front line's a lot more depleted. So he's really kind of our 6th man off the bench. He won the ACC 6th man of the year actually this year. So and he just has the best hands in college football. Blocks, steals. He usually ends up with like it. There's a category called like stocks, which is combined blocks,
stocks
and
blocks.
Yeah.
Stocks and blocks, steals and blocks.
Yeah, steals and blocks. So they call it stocks for short. And he probably gets like about 3 or 4 stocks a game. Sometimes it's 3 blocks, sometimes it's 3 steals. But he's always got his hands around the ball. He's always causing chaos defensively. He gets a couple of dumb fouls. So that'll be something to watch. But the main thing that I'm going to be paying attention to is the play of Bryce Hopkins, transfer from Providence. That he plays the 2 or 3 guard for them. They also have the transfer Ian Jackson from Carolina, but he hasn't really been that great this year. But Bryce Hopkins had like 5 or 6 threes in that Kansas game. He was unconscious, and he's not really a shooter like that. So if Duke has trouble guarding the perimeter, they struggle guarding against people that like come down and shoot a 3. They pack the paint, and they defend the paint very well, but they just kind of lose guys on screens a little bit and on back taps and things like that. So a lot of times the opposing team's best 3-point shooter usually gets 2 or 3 threes. And if Hopkins or Isaiah Sellers or Ian Jackson gets going from 3 because Duke is lackadaisical trying to load up against Zuby, it could be a long night.
Do you have Duke in winning the whole thing?
I do.
In your bracket?
I picked it very like this year. I didn't put a whole lot of thought. I was like, I looked at the matchup once, and I looked away, and I was just like, what name pops in my head? And I just picked it that way, and it served me pretty well. I've done pretty well with my pick so far.
Yeah, I also have Duke winning the whole thing in my bracket, which again is meaningless because not like
I thought Duke was going to have to get through Kansas though, which even though Darren Peterson's a better player than anybody on St. John's, I would have been much more confident in them beating a team like Kansas than a team like St. John's. They're just it's something about that team, man. They're just gritty. They're well coached.
They play as a team. They understand that like they have to play as a team to win.
They just do the shit that they need to do to win.
Not a shot at Darren Peterson.
Zuby is like he's like Cam Boozer light, honestly. Like he's obviously an older player and still a very talented player in his own right. He'll have a future in the NBA if he chooses to take that path. But he passes just like Cam Boozer. He can step outside or knock down a couple of threes. He's not the 3-point shooter that Cam Boozer is. I think Cam Boozer has the edge on passing in on 3-point shooting.
For sure.
But those are still things. They still run offense through Zuby. I think he's, if not their leader in assists, he's like top 2 on that team in assists. He rebounds the basketball really, really well. He scores when he needs to score. He doesn't always – he's not like Cam where he's like, I'm going to get my 20. But if he needs to go out there and score, if that's what the game is dictating, that you have to go at Cam Boozer and get fouls on him or put pressure on him on the defensive end so he's more tired on the offensive end, he's capable of doing that in so many different ways. So it's they say match styles make fights, and this one is one I'm definitely concerned with. I would be lying to you if I did not say that I was concerned. I will be taking St. John's plus the points on this. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think this is a 7-point win for Duke. They win, but it's not 7.
I would agree. Um, yeah, I mean, look, there's a ton of good games coming up. Like
Mhm.
it, UConn,
What's your
Michigan
favorite one
State,
that you got coming up?
probably UConn, Michigan State. I feel like that's such a. I mean, other than Duke St. John, like that's to me, that's the game everybody's gonna be watching. Everybody's gonna be paying attention to. It's gonna lead
Right.
all the shows, whatever happens, win or lose.
Mhm.
Um, but to me, UConn, Michigan State. I've been saying this a lot because I really still can't believe that these teams have only met twice before in the NCAA tournament. Like I feel
Mhm.
like they're both always in it. The fact that they have only met twice is
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
And 2
Um,
legendary coaches. I mean,
yeah,
you got Danny Hurley, and then you got Tom Izzo still doing it.
Tom Izzo, his teams are just always there. Like no matter what, they're just always there. So
They
that's a
find
good
a way.
one. Um, I'm interested to see what Iowa has. Like,
I
I,
was gonna mention that game as one to
yeah, yeah,
circle. Like,
yeah.
don't look past that Iowa game. I know I talked my shit about Ben Sturts because I'm still butthurt, but
Two
pride
Big Ten
aside,
teams too
it's
that,
gonna
that
be
played each
great.
other
And
twice.
Price Sanford, I gotta say, Price Sanford, man, that kid has been really good. Like, he was on, um, he might have been on Iowa last year. I think he was on Iowa last year. Price and his brother Peyton, if I'm not mistaken, were on Iowa last year. I'm gonna look it up while I'm talking here, but um, so that is an interesting angle that I really wasn't thinking about until just now. But yeah, he was at Iowa for 2 years, and
Mm,
then this is his first year with Nebraska. So and his first year as a starter. So
little
like
get back.
he was his brother's backup. His brother Peyton Sanford was a starting power forward, and then Price came off the bench as like a hot hand shooter. And Nebraska and Coach Hoiberg gave him an opportunity to be a star in this role in Nebraska, and he's taken it and run with it, leading the team in scoring, making almost 4 threes a game, shooting over 40% from three. It's going to be a very very fun offensive game. But the game I've circled is Arizona versus Arkansas on Thursday. I just
Your boy.
anytime Darius A covers on the screen, I gotta watch.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I the just because I feel like this started SEC tournament. It was
Mhm.
just like he actually might be the best player in the country. Like he might be the number one pick in the draft. And I'm like, all right, like
All right.
let's all maybe pump the brakes. Like I get it. Anytime somebody has a big game, it's just like, oh, actually, we've been wrong for the past 4 months. It's actually
Yeah.
this dude who's the best. It's like, people kind of jump out the window. But shout out to him because he's taking that high stock and running with it. Boy just signed that
I'm telling you,
sneaker deal with Reebok. He's about to get the signature shoe. Um, you know, it's all coming at Millhouse,
he can.
and I
I'm
like that for
telling
him.
you, like, and again, like I think I had brought it into our group chat that we have offline with our boy Sid, who's a Hawks fan, and they have a lottery pick from New Orleans coming up. I had
Hmm.
mentioned around All Star break, maybe a little bit earlier than that. That's who I
I was
wanted
gonna
the
say
Hawks to
sooner than
pick.
that. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
early.
definitely. It was like trade deadline.
Yeah,
It was when Trey Young got traded, or like
right,
right before Trey
exactly.
Young got
Yeah, and
traded.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's who I'm looking at for who I've been looking at for them for a while. Now that was back when I thought maybe he was gonna fall into like that 8, 9, 10 range, and maybe some people would take like Michael Brown from Louisville or LeBaron Fallon from Arizona. I mean, from Alabama or somebody like that over him. Um, but now he's in the running for a top three, maybe even top two. I don't think he'll go one. I think at this point it's Devonta. It got to be number one for me. But
Yeah,
um,
I
if
wrote that
if
too,
you're
like
unsure about
4 months
Darren
ago.
Peterson and his hamstrings and Cameron Boozer and his lack of athleticism, um, I don't see why Akov wouldn't be in the conversation for the number two pick. He is the real deal. Good size, good shooter. He still gets his assists. He can still pass the ball. He's still floor general, and
Yeah,
then he's unafraid of the moment. When it's crunch time, he doesn't get those empty calories. A lot of guys get like empty calories and puff up their stats against bad teams or when the moments don't count.
yeah.
But you
No,
saw
you see
like
the impact. You can see the
Darren
impact.
Peterson down the stretch of both of Kansas's tournament games in like the last 4 minutes. I don't think he had a single field goal made in either one of the tournament games.
Tough.
And it didn't come back to bite him in the game against Cal Baptist. Almost did, but it didn't come back to bite him against Cal Baptist. And then it did come back to bite him against St. John's. So the last 4 minutes, it's very important that if you're going to be that guy, that everybody wants to, just annoy it. Oh, he's the next Kobe and all the next this, that, and the third, which is unfair to the kid. Um, you got to show up when your team needs you, and Acuff does that in spades. So
Yeah,
I'm very interested to see him play
he's gonna look great on the Sacramento Kings. Let me tell you.
for 2 years before they trade him.
Yeah, they'd be like, he's actually too good for our team, so we're gonna
Yeah,
trade him.
Sacramento. They're like the Rays of the National Basketball Association.
They'd be like,
They'll get a
wow.
good player for just long enough for everyone else to know he's good,
Yeah,
and then
and then
they'll trade him for like some draft compensation and like a
for like
middling
Brooke
star or
Lopez.
some shit like that. Yeah.
Like, what we
Man.
need? We need a 7-foot, 38-year-old center.
I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Only if you have another like 37, 38-year-old shooting guard who does not shoot the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great scorer, love DeMar DeRozan, but just kind of funny that that's how they ended up building that team. A team that had De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton is now depending on the mid-30s talent of. I forgot all about Russell Westbrook coming off the bench.
It's Westbrook, Levine, and
DeRozan.
Yeah.
Nuts.
That
Nuts. They don't deserve good things. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to make a new team. Just send that team to Seattle. You don't even have to make a new team. You don't need expansion. Just send them to Seattle.
Yeah. We still need the Kings though. They just need,
I don't think that we do.
New ownership.
Not altogether necessary. Unless they just change their philosophy. I want to see better for them.
Yeah.
Speaking of the NCAA tournament, before we switch over to MLB, really quickly, I just wanted to touch on
yes,
the Syracuse women's basketball program and their head coach. Let me make sure I get the name right on the head coach here. Felisha Legette. Legette-Jackson. I don't know if it's Legette or Leggett. So I apologize on the pronunciation front. But Coach Jackson, she has a problem with facing UConn in the NCAA tournament on the women's side. Said it's unfair. Said she doesn't know why the powers that be that put these brackets together. I think she said like the last 3 years that they've been in her teams have been in the bracket. They've been in UConn side and had to go through the Huskies. And I'm like, I know that your feelings on it might differ from mine, but for me, I just think it's kind of weak for a coach. Like, I understand your frustration and always feeling like, damn, can I have a chance to make a run at the Final Four and maybe meet them in the Final Four? In where it's a neutral ground, because I think in the women's game, top seeds play at home through the first weekend, I think, and then they go to a neutral site or something like that. But so it would be nice for her to not have to go to, the XL Center and play out there in Hartford. But I think if you're trying to be a coach and a leader of a program and a steward for these young women that are growing and might have aspirations of playing beyond this, or just want to apply, the things that they're learning through this team into the life lessons that they'll need to grow, you can't get the things that you want by going around greatness. Sometimes you have to go through it. You have to welcome that challenge. And yeah, it fucking sucks. I'm sure you would rather face like a fucking, I don't know, like a TCU or something like that, where maybe you feel like you have a puncher's chance. But if at some point you could run into you, like, it's just a weird optic, because you're actively inadvertently like telling your team that they can't beat UConn. Like, I don't believe in my team defeating this other juggernaut team. So like, it's not fair that we have to play them. Like, how would you feel about that? If you go into if you're sitting in the locker room watching your coach on the post-game presser and you're like listening to them say like how it's unfair that you have to play these actually talented women. Like, well, we're pretty talented as well. We just got our asses kicked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have some thoughts.
Sure.
I'll start off by saying yes, it was a surprising way to go into the press conference, and she seemed to be very adamant. She seemed to have receipts. She's like, look, like you said, it seemed like she was kind of talking about more of the seating, and then she was just kind of going, and the more she went, the more she just kind of just bringing up stuff. I mean, she says she was on the committee, so she understands how the selection works. And I do think that's part of this. Like, it's different in pro sports where it's like wherever you finish, like, that determines your playoff seeding or whatever, right? As opposed to there is a subjective picking process in the tournament. Everybody's always upset about their seeding. Even teams that are like the number one seed are like, well, we should be the number one overall seed. It's like, whatever. Right. That all that being said, UConn was up 65-12. 65-12
They went on
in
a
the first
31-0
half.
run at one point, bro. Like, it was
65-12. They scored 12 points in the first half. So when you ask me, oh, how do you think the players feel? If the players you don't have an option to feel anything. You guys scored 12 points in the first half of a freaking basketball game. Like, yeah, I think your coach might be right. You might not be able to handle UConn. Like, she's telling y'all the truth.
Yeah, for what it's worth.
Now, I'm sure
AZ Fudd and Sarah Strong both outscored the entire Syracuse team by themselves individually. Sarah Strong, I think, had 14 at half, and then AZ Fudd had like 26 at halftime.
Crazy. So now your coach might have told you something different before the game to pump you guys up, but let me tell you something right now. She was lying to you. Oh, and this is what she actually feels. And guess what? She's not wrong. You guys were getting your asses kicked. And like, it's unfortunate, but look, UConn's been doing this to teams all year. The closest game that they played all year, I think, was like 3 points. And they still won the game, but it was just like that was in November.
Like, probably like a game.
That was like their fourth game.
Carolina or some shit like that. It was probably like some neutral site game they played.
I don't even. It wasn't a good team. It was just like,
okay.
It was just like, oh yeah, we just didn't have a great game today, and we still won by 3. So yeah, every other game that they played, they've won by double digits. And Syracuse just happened to be in the way to their, quest for another title. It doesn't look great. You rarely see somebody go out and be like, it's just unfair. Not her saying it was unfair that they have to constantly keep going through this team. I get that part. And like you said, the home court advantage, all that. Like, that definitely sucks. And she's like, within a 4-hour radius of Connecticut, they're going to draw a ton of people. Syracuse ain't some small school, so they should be able to draw people as well.
And they're also in the Northeast, close enough to Connecticut that their fans can make the trip.
Right. But why would I show up if I know they're going to get blown out? Like,
I mean, they could play the game at the fucking
they could play that game on the moon.
They could play that game anywhere. Not the Carrier. What's it? It's not the Carrier Dome. What's the dome called at Syracuse? I don't know. Whatever the fucking arena is called for Syracuse. They could play it on their
yeah.
They could play it on their home court and make AZ Fudd play with her left hand for the whole game, and they would still lose by at least double digits. So,
but I will say this though. I will say this. Like, in all seriousness, I do think, people always are like, "Oh, I can't believe this person did this or this person said that." I got to shout out people for just being honest, because like, how many times do you watch a press conference and
stupid? Yeah, I just don't like. I'm putting myself in the shoes of somebody sitting in that locker room. Like, how can I look at you as a coach and be and feel pride in anything that you have to say to me now? Like, this isn't like men's basketball where y'all are one and done, or like you're just gonna hop in the portal and leave the next year. Yeah. Like, most of the women that are on Syracuse, like, you on that team for a couple of years. I don't know anybody on that team, so I don't know if any of them are gonna jump. There are women that jump in the transfer portal, but they are much higher profile players than the ones that Syracuse has on the court, with all due respect to those young women. But I just don't, it wouldn't inspire confidence in me. Like, I don't have to think that my coach truly believes that we can be UConn. We know that we're outmatched against this team. But, like, I want to believe that you're going to do everything you can to help us win this game. And in the back of your mind, you're not thinking about how unfair it is that my poor shitty little players or second-rate players, when put up against these UConn players, they're going to just bludgeon us. It's not like we're a U19 team and we're playing against the NBA All-Stars or some shit. That's what it looked like. But, we're all on fair grounds here.
Well, I mean, in fairness to her, she was very complimentary of Gino. She tried. She specifically said like, I'm not trying to take credit away from them. She also mentioned that her team did not play well,
Yeah.
which was obvious, but whatever. So it wasn't just like yo, like we played our hearts out and we still
Yeah.
lost and it's unfair because even at our best we can't beat them. Like she admitted that they didn't play the best game that they could have played,
Right.
and gave credit to the winning team. Like she was like, I don't want to take any credit away from them.
What you did though.
Did,
It's kind of like, it's kind of like shout out to Step Brothers. It's like when someone says with all due respect, and then you just know some bullshit is coming on the other end. You know what I mean? Like not to take credit away, and then you proceed to take credit away by saying that something is unfair, that you have to play the hand that you're dealt. Like, okay, you want to play against teams that you know you're going to win, go to the NIT or the Basketball Invitational or something like that. But when you're playing in the NCAA tournament, just an opportunity to go to that tournament, especially as an at-large team who didn't win their conference's tournament. I think that you should be happy to be able to participate in that because there are some coaches that had like the Miami of Ohio team.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting there complaining about their seating. Like I'm sure they felt disrespected and they might have mentioned that in post-game interviews that, yeah, we felt disrespected. But you know what they did? They went out and fucking won their round one game. And then, they played their hearts out in their round two game and it didn't work out for them. But like, it doesn't stop you from going out and doing what you're supposed to do. You want to be in this big boy tournament. Then there's some shit that you're going to have to do that's going to be more difficult than maybe these other tournaments that you might be a part of. And there are some teams that have had really, really good years that don't get the opportunity that you got just because you got that orange S on your chest. And you got to get an at-large bid to go to this damn tournament when there's another 19 or 20 or 22 win team that didn't get an at-large bid and they're playing the NIT. So, I just think that it's important to maintain that kind of perspective when you're going into that kind of stuff and just understand the optics and stuff. Like not everything can be taken at face value. Something like that, people are going to read deeper into because like if Aria was 17 and was looking to play college basketball, I wouldn't want her playing for that coach.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if I go that far.
No, I'm going like it's not that she's a bad coach, but like I don't think that you believe in the team that you have because you think playing against like she didn't say the refs were calling it unfairly. Like if you watch the Ole Miss versus Minnesota game, Cody McMahon, one of the best players in the country, played with foul trouble the whole fucking game. She's an over 20 point per game scorer, finished with like 15 points, fouled out of the game with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then Minnesota ends up coming back and winning that game in overtime, I think it was. And it's like they wouldn't have won that game if the star player didn't foul out. And the foul that they called on her to foul her out of the game was horseshit. And it's not lost on me that they were playing on Minnesota floor. So like if you have that kind of issue, fine, that's one thing. But the only issue you have is UConn. Like in essence, you're saying UConn is so good. Why should we always have to play against the really, really good teams? Why can't we play against a lesser team?
Yeah, I mean, and again, she mentioned that it was the same when she was at Buffalo, that like they constantly got put into that bracket. And again, like I said from the start, interesting choice. I probably would not have gone there, but I do respect the fact that she was just like, this is some fucking bullshit. Like anyone who has ever played a game, whether it's like you actually on the court or you're playing a video game or whatever, and you just like, yo, the game fucking cheat, yo. Like that's basically what she said. She said, yo, the game fucking cheating.
But the
And
difference
this is some
is
fucking
like
bullshit. And she threw her
it's a
controller.
regional
And I
thing.
personally can respect it because we've all been there. We've all thrown the controller and just
No,
said,
but
this is fucking bullshit.
I mean, me more than most. I have real rage issues when it comes to video games.
Yeah.
Everybody that knows me and knew me as an adolescent knows that. But like,
You know what? You know it's bad when you walk into Best Buy and you go straight to the section and be like, you broke another one. And be like, yeah, no, just give me a shot.
yeah, yeah. No, it's when the joystick is sticking. It's like, damn, you was eating candy, and it's like, nah, it's playing Madden. I'm like, oh, it's one of those breaks. Got it. You know
Oh, so this controller broken. It's just
yeah,
broken.
it was broken. There's no coming back from this. No, it's not to say, and again, it's not to disparage her as a coach. It's just what I would want from my kid if I'm going to entrust her with the coach of this program. I want my kid to feel like their coach believes in them, even if it's an irrational belief, even if deep down they know we're going into their hometown, their home court, um, with players that are not as good, not as experienced, not as battle tested, um, and we're going in there with a big disadvantage. I still want her to give her team that feeling of hope and that feeling of belief because you still have to go out there and play these games.
But we
UConn
don't
has
know
not
that.
won every national championship since Gino has taken over as a
Yeah.
coach. It seems like it, but they haven't. They've lost in tournaments before
But
by
but
teams that maybe people didn't see coming.
but we don't know that she wasn't doing that going into the game. Now, after the game, when it's
But
pretty
that's the
clear
but
that
that's
you
the
had
important part.
absolutely no business on the floor with this team,
That's
I feel
that's
like it's
something.
fine to. I feel like it's fine to say that. Is
It's
all I'm
fine to
saying.
say it to your team if you're gonna say it to your team, like in the privacy to them, because like whatever relationship you have with them is the relationship you have with them, and maybe they understand where their coach is coming from. I can only speak for myself and the way that I would receive that,
Yeah.
and I don't properly receive that message from my coach. I wouldn't want like if Duke loses this game, I don't want John Shire being like, "Well, we're supposed to be the number one overall seed. How the hell do we end up playing a team like St. John's?" It's like, no, listen, man, you lost the game, and
Well,
it
it's different if
happens.
you're the higher seed and you complaining.
No,
That's
no, no,
crazy.
but I'm just saying, like,
If it
just
was the flip side and St. John's was complaining like we're mad at that we had to play Duke, I'd be like,
no, but I mean, there is still something to be said. Like, if you're the number one overall seed, like when you're in the NBA playoffs and you're the one seed, your bonus is not only home court throughout your conference playoff run, but that your first round matchup is against the worst
the
playoff
worst.
team
Yeah.
available because that's the benefit or the bonus that you get for running the table during the regular season. So the number one overall seed should have an easier path. So the
Yeah.
number one seed should not have. There's going to be four number two seeds. There's going to be a number two seed in every region, but your number two seed should probably be whoever you would deem to be maybe the worst of the number two seeds, or however you want to match those things up or talk about. That's what I'm talking about in this scenario, because I do believe that she probably speaks life into her players. They did a great job of handling Audie Crooks in their round one win. She scored almost 40 on them, but they won that game pretty handily. So it's not that she can't coach their team and coach against a more talented team, because I do think that Iowa State team is probably more talented than Syracuse. But I don't like the optics of what she said. I don't think it sends the right message to that team. But again, I could be wrong with it. That's just how I received it
No, I
because I don't like it.
I feel you. I also feel like in this era, this same, thing could have um like I'm just thinking of like Jeff Teague and them dudes could have easily said exactly the same thing that she said on the podcast, and everybody would have been like, "Yeah, they're kind of right. Like it is kind of crazy that they, it like it." I think part of the issue is she's saying it. Obviously, that's
Mhm.
the main issue is that she's the one that said it as opposed to somebody else saying it, and I think I just am so used to people giving the BS like coach speak answers that for her
Mhm.
to just be like, "This is BS." It was just like,
Mhm.
"Oh, this is actually kind of refreshing." Like she's not saying that like thinking like, "Oh yeah, like everyone's gonna be on my side." She's like, "This is probably not gonna get me a lot of like
Yeah, that's just
positive
how she felt in
slaps
that
on the
moment.
back." Like, but this is
Mhm.
honestly how I feel. And how many people actually speak the truth when they're being interviewed in pro sports or whatever, right? Like it's so few. So I
Yeah,
think I was surprised, and I was just like usually I'm watching a video of somebody talking, and after 5 seconds, I'm like, I got the gist. Like
yeah.
they're just gonna give me some nonsense. I watched the whole thing. I was like, she's still going. That was a very long answer that she gave. It
Yeah.
was a really long answer, and
Mhm.
it was like, man,
She
it's like
felt
watching
that. She
somebody.
was
It was like watching somebody dig a hole, and it's just like, wow, you're really good
you
at digging.
st-
You're really going.
Oh
You're a
man,
master
that's
with
just
that shovel.
that.
Oh
Oh,
man,
that's good. That's good. The getting off of her back and pivoting into a different sport and Major League Baseball gets started. We're recording this on Tuesday night, so for us tomorrow, your Yankees starting off the season
yes,
for
sir.
God
The way it
knows what
should be.
reason.
The way it should be.
Whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess someone's got to lose opening day, so why not the Yankees? What is
Eight.
give me your top 3 things that you're looking forward to in this upcoming MLB season.
Top things I'm looking forward to, or the
Yeah,
top three
just like a
things
quick top 3. Yeah, just like, season
for
hasn't started. We'll get into it
outside the
deeper.
Yankees or Yankee specific.
Yeah, it can be Yankee. It could be 3 Yankee things. It could be 2 Yankee things. It could be no Yankee things. Just whatever your top 3 is.
All
However
right.
you determine that.
I'll do one Yankee thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is pitching. Like there's so many question marks in terms of the pitching staff. A bunch of guys injured. Whenever Garrett Cole comes back, how he looks. Bounce back year Fried had a good year, but obviously the playoffs left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Is Cam Schlittler legit? I feel like the pitching staff, there's just so many question marks that I'm very, very curious about. So that's a big one. Obviously the Dodgers. Like, I feel like everybody's going into the season like basically anointing the Dodgers as like the next champions. Which I get because they have a really good team, but it's also like we've seen this before where a team is really good and that third year trying to go for a three-peat, what happened to the Chiefs? There's a lot of teams that can make it. The Chiefs made it all the way to the Super Bowl, and then by the time they got to the Super Bowl, it was belt to ass. Like they just could not compete. So I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to happen in this scenario because football and baseball are 2 totally different sports. But are the Dodgers actually going to be this juggernaut that we all are painting them out to be, or are they on their last legs? And yeah, they got some good talent, but like that talent has to sort of gel and put it all together. And then the other thing that I'm interested in, Skeens and Scooble, are they going to stay on their teams, or do both of those teams make a really?
You just want Skeens to go to the Yankees.
I'm not saying that, but hey, hey, come on down, brother.
You just want Skeens to go to the Yankees. You're not low.
He said fine. It, not me. But in all seriousness, I don't even understand how this is even possible. Like if I'm the Pirates, and I love the Pirates, by the way, or the Tigers, there's absolutely no freaking way I'm letting these guys walk. Chance. Like, I don't even understand why this is a conversation. Like, they should be throwing absolute Brinks trucks. Like, multiple Brinks trucks should be backing up to their houses as we speak. But once that stuff kind of gets out there and people start talking about it, I feel like it makes it a little bit easier for the players or the organization to do something stupid. Well, smart on the players' part, stupid on the organization's part. So yeah, those are 3 things that I'm kind of eyeing, just off the top. What about you?
Yeah. So for me, the first thing I'm eyeing is Shohei Ohtani, mostly because he's been to back-to-back World Series. Last year was his first year back on the mound in 2 seasons. The difference with this offseason and the last offseason in between was this year he had the World Baseball Classic. So now, he didn't pitch in the World Baseball Classic that I can recall for Japan. I think he was strictly a hitter for them. But for a guy that plays both ends, does both things, and it just takes a lot out. Like when you play all the way through the World Series, your offseason in baseball is really just like 6 to 8 weeks tops. And really that doesn't even include the rehabbing that you're doing at the end of the season. To get your body back right, and then the stuff you're doing to ramp up maybe before you report to spring training in early to mid-February, depending on if you're going for the pitchers or the players or whatever. So I'm just interested to see in how much gas he's going to have in the tank. Who's he's on the other side of 30 now. He's been in the league for a number of years. This past season, he played, like I said, he played both sides of the ball, and then he played the World Baseball Classic. Now, they didn't make it far in the World Baseball Classic, or as far as people expected them to, so maybe it won't be as big of a concern, or maybe it'll just get him into a good rhythm to start the season. But I will be following Shohei Ohtani very intently to just see how his body keeps up throughout the season. For my Red Sox thing, I'm gonna go Roman Anthony. I want him to continue the momentum that he has built.
You love this guy.
I mean, I'm just a gut. Like a lot of times, and this because your team is a fellow big market team. Um, a lot of times our prospects get hit with this hype bug, and everybody's like, well, because it's the top Red Sox prospect or because it's the top Yankees prospect, it's a top prospect and he should just be. And then they come up and they're like, yeah, they're not that great. It's like there's a long list of players that have ended up like that for us.
Yeah.
But Roman Anthony at every turn has just seemed like the real deal. Like Marcelo Meyer looks like the guy that I'm used to being a top Red Sox prospect, where top draft pick, everybody just said potential through the roof and all this stuff. And from what I've seen of him, very slick fielder, but like he's not setting nobody's world on fire. I'm not thinking of him as like a perennial all-star second baseman, shortstop, or third baseman. I just think he's a solid MLB player. But this kid Roman Anthony can be different, and I'm interested to seeing how different. Like, is he going to be a 300 hitter? He's our leadoff hitter through the year, so is he going to be a 300 hitter? Is he going to be a 30 home run guy? Is he going to start to steal a few extra bases because he's leading off and he wants to set the table? Like, what is he going to do, or is he going to struggle? I mean, in a prolonged struggle, every baseball player struggles, but is it going to be prolonged? Is he going to be able to work himself out of slumps when he gets into them? And I'm very interested in following that path. And then the last thing that I'll be interested in is the AL Cy Young race. I personally think that Garrett Crochet was robbed last year. Tariq Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball, full stop. Yes, above Paul Skeens. But the Cy Young is not best pitcher. The Cy Young is the best pitcher's performance that year. And to me, I think Garrett Crochet had the best pitcher performance last year. So I would like to see him back it up again. But more importantly, I am interested in seeing a whole list of pitchers, because if you ask me, I know you had mentioned Schlittler earlier. From my perspective, as a Red Sox fan, he's Nolan Ryan. Because what I saw in that tell you so. I saw that playoff game was net. Like I mean, I had to throw my hands up. I didn't even know, like, game 3 of the AL wild card, and I couldn't even get my shit off. I was like, normally I would be talking about how y'all cheating and all this and all that, but like he just straight up throwing fastballs down the middle and he like hit it and we're like, nah, we're good. Like, I think we'll swing and miss again. That felt like it was working for us. So I'm very interested in that. And then the return of Crochet, like you said, I mean not Crochet, of Cole.
Yeah,
like you said, it's going to be interesting to see from that perspective, and how that makes this vaunted rotation look and elongate. You got Dylan Cease in Toronto now, and then their rookie who was led them all the way to the World Series
Savage
last year, Yesevich. Yeah, Savage. So um, it's just a lot of really good pitching. Um, and now that we've got most of the cheaters out, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Cleveland Indians. I think it'll be interesting to really follow that AL Cy Young race. I'm not as familiar in the NL side. I kind of think that's Paul Skeens to lose, but in the AL, there's a lot of really good candidates, and I love a good pitching performance. There's nothing wrong with a 1-0 baseball game for me.
I agree, especially if it's electric.
Yeah, exactly.
See somebody
The
just
stakes are up.
completely
Like that.
dominating. Yeah,
That Yankees versus Red Sox, like 1-0 game where Judge tied it in the 9th inning with a home run off Crochet. Like,
that was a great game.
it was a fantastic. Like, I love that game. That
Yeah.
was an electric game, and it was palpable. And it was like Crochet was over 100 pitches, and he's going for the complete game shutout. And he's got to get Judge out to do it. And not only does he lose the shutout, but Judge ties the game, and you think the Red Sox lose momentum. We end up winning the game, but it was a wonderful matchup. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I was reading an article from one of the Post columnists, Joel Sherman. He was writing about how the potential lockout coming for baseball after this season is sort of just like looming, and like it's like one of those things that everybody around, between the Players Association and the league, like they're all sort of just kind of feel like it's going to happen because they kind of back themselves into a corner that they can't get out of. And but the point of the article was that like around that, this season is shaping up to be like one of the best seasons that we've seen in a really long time. And he brought up a ton of names, and like there's still a bunch of players in on whether it's pitchers, hitters, whatever, that he was kind of talking about who should make this season really, really awesome. Like I think this would be a really good season. I love, you joke about the Yankees kicking it off, but I do love the fact that Netflix kind of jumped into this.
That's a Netflix game. I didn't know that it was a
game.
Netflix
The
game.
game is on Netflix, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Which it could be the only game on Netflix all season, but
Mhm.
the fact that like it just brings something new, like right? It just like brings new energy. Obviously, we got NBC doing games, so Thursday we'll have I think it's Pirates and speaking of Skeens, Pirates versus the Mets in the 1 o'clock game, and then Diamondbacks Dodgers in the late game on Thursday.
Okay.
So that's exciting to look forward to. Like this just it's like baseball's back. Plus we get Sunday Night Baseball on NBC. To me, like the best thing that could have happened for baseball and for basketball is that NBC decided like, hey, we want to get back into these other sports. Because to be able to just turn the TV on and like, oh, I don't have to put on like Amazon Prime or shout out to Amazon Prime and all that. Like, but like it's like, oh, I can just turn my television on to like network television and like there's a sporting event on. This is great. Like it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and I just love having baseball back. I'm a big baseball fan.
Same.
I'm a big just fan of just the sport in general. So I am 100% looking forward to getting this season started. I can't wait. I'm glad that it's just going to be your Yankees and I get to root against them to start the season off, and I can delay my nerves over the Red Sox for one more day and just sit and be happy to be a hater.
Yeah. I expect you to be a big hater tomorrow. It's
huge.
better that way. It's better that way.
Yeah, I mean,
I
would have it any other way.
We get to go up against your boy, your former boy, Rafael Devers.
Oh yeah, San Francisco. Yeah. First baseman Rafi Devers, by the way. Put some respect on that.
Hate that man.
Hey,
he's killed us. It's a respectful hate, but still
you know
hate.
what though? It's in San Fran. You've never played him in San Francisco. You've only played him in Yankee Stadium or Fenway. And in that case, he's just taking aim at those short right field porches, especially in Yankee Stadium. Here, to get it into McCovey Cove. Well, is it still? Yeah, still McCovey Cove. To get it into McCovey Cove, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So I think you guys will be all right.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
You're going to lose, but you'll be all right.
But yeah, big.
So
I'm excited.
I mean, I love it. Well, I guess to pivot out of the framework of baseball and briefly dip our toes into something a little more universal in what's going on, more what's happening in the world. It hit my radar because I'm a resident of Atlanta, Georgia. So when I saw on ATL Scoop and on World Star the images of Hartsfield Jackson Airport with TSA lines snaking around baggage claim and in some cases out the door and into the traffic lines for the cars doing pickups and things like that, it just kind of set my antennas on fire. I mentioned earlier in the pod, my wife and I, we went to New York for her birthday to celebrate, and my birthday's in a couple of weeks. My intention was to come back up to the Mid-Atlantic and see some of y'all, kick it, go back up to New York, kick it with you, kick it with Tay, see Jason in Philly and do that whole thing. And those plans went straight out the window. Once I saw them photos, I was like, oh, hell no, there's no way. And now they're talking about ISIS in the damn TSA and all that shit. It's just like, this country's going to hell in a handbasket, man. It's just one thing after another in this month.
I think that's the best way to put it. One thing after another. To put a little context around it. So DHS, which houses TSA and a bunch of other different organizations, lost its funding after the ICE agents and Border Patrol murdered 2 people in Minneapolis. So Congress was like, hey, we're not voting to fund DHS until you guys can do like literally the basics, which is take off your masks and wear some sort of identification that people can, see. And the
And have
Republicans were
warrants
like,
for when
right,
you
and
enter
have
private
judicial warrants,
property.
not just like I just wrote down like I'm
Right.
coming into your
Not you
house on a piece of
scribbling on a
paper.
piece of paper signed by
Yeah, signed by me.
signed by your man. Yeah.
I'm breaking in, signed by me. So like literally the basics, like not even anywhere close to what people were asking for after Renee Good and Alex Preddy got murdered for just being normal humans and American citizens who were protesting against something that they didn't like. And Republicans in Congress and in the Senate were basically like, fuck that, we're not changing anything. So then Democrats were like, fine, we're not going to vote to fund this organization. I mean, to fund this department until you guys change things. And essentially it's been shut down since then, right? So more recently, Trump was like, well, since we don't have TSA agents, because people are still working, they're just not getting paid. And
Right.
obviously,
Well, it's because I think
most
they're given the
Americans,
option of early retirement or come to work without pay to keep your job and keep your
yeah,
standing in the company. And some people are opting to go into that early severance package or
well, some people are just like, we're just not. I just have to quit my job because like I need another job. Like I can't
yeah,
I can't
I
work
was
and
under
not
the
get
impression
paid.
that it was a like that was the thing. Like that's why, because I was wondering why anybody would show up if they're not going to be paid to do work. Like if you're not going to pay me, I'm just not like it's hard for me to believe that.
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't be showing up if I know that my paycheck ain't coming in. I don't care
Well,
how important
I
you think my
think
job is.
to in some people's minds, like this happens often. This has happened twice this year,
Yeah.
where the government was shut down, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe not twice this calendar year, but at least twice within the last like
12 months. Yeah.
6 to 8 months, where
Mm-hmm.
there's a government shutdown, and it's like, okay, well, the matter of fact, the last time there was a major government shutdown, it was the longest one in history because
Mm-hmm.
the
Oh, I know. I have some friends with government jobs that were
so
really
do
shut
I.
down.
So do
Yeah.
I. And basically the Trump administration was just like, we don't give a fuck about these people. We'll cut
Mm-hmm.
SNAP, we'll cut this, we'll cut that. Like we'll do whatever we have to do. We just don't care.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, it's basically it's the Republicans in Congress who are just like, well, we want to make a deal. I was literally just watching the news and they were talking about this. The Republicans was like, hey, we want to make a deal, which is a dumb deal for the Democrats to even consider if their whole point of, pushing this fight was that they wanted to get reforms, because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
we'll fund everything but ICE. But then a couple months from now, the Republicans will just push through some funding specifically for ICE on a budgetary vote, which they don't need the 60 vote majority. They could just do it a straight 51 and get the vice president to sign. I mean, if you don't pay attention to all of that type of stuff, I totally understand what I just said makes no sense. But essentially, they won't need the normal process. They can get it done with a lighter process and still get everything they want, which is like, I don't even understand why any Democrats would agree to that, but whatever.
Right.
It's like, what's the point of what you're doing anyway? But even with that, which would have been good for quote unquote all sides, because you can still save face and be like, we shut down the government because we care about people. And then Republicans would be like, oh, well, we opened up the government because we care about people. Everybody can look like, kind of good and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump was just like, no.
Right. Fuck all that.
He literally said, no, we're not going to do a deal with the Democrats. So clearly, if you work for TSA and you want to know why you're not getting paid, it's because the guy who sits in the White House, who is made billions of dollars, in a lot of cases illegally, but who's gonna charge him with any kind of crimes because he owns every single organization within the government. The guy who sits in the White House, who's knocking down walls to build, ballrooms and who every time he's talking about his wealth or money or how great it is for rich people. If you want to know why you're not getting paid, it's because of that guy. It's because that guy literally just said, like, I actually don't care if people get paid. I just don't want the other side, air quotes, because we're all supposed to be one United States of America. I don't want the other side to win, right? And that's basically where we are. Like it's a weird like thing because the people that he's fucking over in a lot of cases
His
over the course
constituents.
of exactly, the people that he's been fucking over literally from the time he became president again have been the people who voted for him, saying that he was going to do all the stuff for them,
Yeah.
even though there was zero evidence that he was going to do that based
Right. Well, I
on
mean,
any of his past. Like, it
you
just
see it
doesn't make
happening
sense.
with all the people that backpedal. Like, if you just talk about the celebrities and mostly podcasters in this case that supported him, that had him on their platforms when he was campaigning and everything like that, and wanted to support all this stuff, and now all
Joe
of a
Rogan.
sudden, yeah, Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, all those guys, and now they're just backpedaling and trying to distance themselves from it. And this is the guy that, yes, the fuck it is. This is who you voted for. This is what you voted for.
Not only did
This
you
is
vote for
exactly
him,
the type
you
of thing that you voted
advocated for him.
for. Right.
You didn't
You
just say
gave
like
him
I'm
a
not gonna
platform.
I'm
Joe
not gonna like
Rogan has like the most popular podcast
yeah
out. Like, I'm pretty sure it's like statistically the number one
yeah
downloaded podcast or uploaded podcast. Um, at least on Apple Podcasts. So like
on
when you,
Spotify
yeah, on
on
spot, yeah.
Spotify too.
So
Yeah.
it's like you're giving this person that level of platform to reach the masses, and not only are you giving him a platform to just campaign for himself, you are actively endorsing this person and what they stand for. And now that it's come to the light that it doesn't benefit you in the ways that you don't that you thought that it would, now all of a sudden you want to distance yourself, or it doesn't look as good as it did when he was coming on and he was just bloviating and saying a bunch of stuff, which is like, that is what people that are, egomania, that's what they do. They make these big, broad, grandiose statements and speak in absolutes and things of that nature because it makes them look big and it makes them look powerful. And some of the smallest people in the world speak in those grandiose absolutes, and they do things like that to create conditions for absolute power and for no checks and balances. And the only reason why you would want to go through a system and not have a check or a balance, proper checks and balance system, the only reason why you would want to not properly work across the line and have bipartisan issues come to a good and fair resolution in government, which is what the government was made for in the first place, is because your egomaniacal self, you won't allow yourself to perceptively lose. All this is for him is a game. It's about wins and losses. It's not about creating a better government for our people to live in for the future. This is about what's going to be etched in history for his name. And if Trump never lost anything, and when Trump was in office, there was 100% Republican Senate and the House, and the Supreme Court justices served for 30 years under Trump, and all blah blah blah, blah and all these pardons. I'm like, he's pardoning pedophiles. He's out here breaking the law. He's lining the pockets of billionaires. He's taking money out of the pockets of the middle class, which is what buoys this economy in the first place. He is stepping on the necks of the poor who are already poor and downtrodden as it is, and he's making that wealth gap even greater as we speak. He is going back on every promise that he has ever made, if he even made any kind of progress towards that toll at all. And he's doing all of this with the bravado of someone who you would think has a net 100 approval rating. Like, he doesn't have any shame about any of that stuff.
In his mind, he does, because he doesn't focus on anyone who didn't vote for him and their approval
Mhm.
rating, even though the approval rating among people who voted for him is in the tank too.
Right.
But he just doesn't look at that. He just says it's fake. So yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. We literally it like there's a part of I've been reading and listening and doing a lot of like thinking about just like where we are in life. And people, they have these really thought out, really just like well thought positioned ideas about this and about that and about like why people voted for him and what we need to do and all that. And at the end of the day, sometimes I just look at it like, man, like a lot of these conversations y'all having, it's just conversations between white people and like why white people feel a certain way about certain
100%.
things. Because I feel like for the most part, like I could say for sure the majority of black people, but certainly just people who are non-white are kind of just like, you know, the guy was a liar before and he's still a liar now. And we kind of all knew that. Um, and yeah, like I'm sorry, I don't need to like,
We had him in office before for 4 years. Like that's what people neglect to acknowledge or
yeah,
realize. And the only
we
thing that you
literally,
can go back to is we had those stimulus checks. It was like, well, we had to create a stimulus check because under his watchful eye, if you want to call it that, a global pandemic
thank
came
you.
about in
Thank
large
you.
part because he didn't treat it seriously.
Thank you.
And he did not take seriously the warnings of the people that were put in place, both either by himself or by the administrations before him. He didn't listen to any advisors who job it was to advise the president on things of that nature. And because of that, more people ended up getting sick. The disease ended up spreading at a very dangerous and alarming rate. Curfews were incurred, masks and things were required, and it changed everything about this economy. It changed the housing market, it changed the restaurant business, it changed the way we shop, it changed the way we travel, and it didn't have to happen. And because he gave you a little $2,000 check, or if you did a PPP loan legally or illegally and got yourself 10 grand plus or whatever, you think, well, this is the president is going to hand you out some money. He's going to fuck up and do shit that's not conducive to you. He's going to try and erase your history. He's going to spit in your face and tell you that it's raining. But at the end of the day, when he feels like he's crossed the line too far, when he feels like he's losing a little bit of that edge, he'll throw you a couple of dollars to make you forget all about it.
A couple of
And
dollars that you put into the system
a
with your
hundred
own
percent.
taxes.
Like
He's
he's
just
not
giving you
giving
your
you
money
money out
back.
of his thing. This is all of your tax money that you're getting back. And in my case, they said
Which
they
you also have
over
to pay
awarded
taxes
and
on.
asked me to pay some of the money back that
Yeah.
I put into the tax. Like the audacity for you to say that the money that I paid into that I'm getting back in return, you over gifted. Like, how are you gifting my money? Like, if I give you 100 and you're like, you know what, you're going through hard times, I'm gonna give 80 of it back. And then months later, you decide it should have been 60, not 80. So I'm gonna need $20 that back. I over gifted you by $20. Like, that was my money to begin with. So you didn't over gift. Shit, that's my money. And I had a right to that money as per the laws and the things that you had put in place. But regardless, like this is the world that the masses at large voted for. This is what you all voted for. And while you can't expect everybody to wear it on their head that stamped that I voted for Trump and I'm on it, but like it's probably more people than would readily want to admit.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's somebody that's walking around acting like they hate him now, and you just don't know like that. Not only did they vote for him this time, they probably voted for him all three times that he ran.
Shout out to that one woman that I don't know if you saw this woman who got interviewed. They were talking about the gas prices because, by the way, we failed to mention that not only is TSA um, completely screwed up because of everything that's going on,
Mhm.
we're in the middle of a war that's like pushed
Another
gas
unnecessary
prices
war.
up. Yeah, that's pushed gas prices up by a dollar in like 3 weeks. So that's fun. And they went to interview, people at the gas station, and they asked this woman, like, what would you say to President Trump? And she was like, um, "You're a worthless piece of shit." He's like, "And you voted for him 3 times?" She was like, "Yeah, that's my bad. I guess I was an idiot." And it's like, wow,
Mhm.
I can certainly appreciate your come to Jesus moment. Thank
Yeah.
you for admitting it. Yeah, like I don't know what to tell people. I thought we all knew this already, but I guess people needed to touch the stove 2 times to make sure that it was hot.
It was three
Um,
times. Once is an accident, twice is intentional, and three times is the trend. I don't have
Insanity.
any sympathy. I don't
Yeah.
have any sympathy for anybody that voted. I don't have like, and I've mentioned this before.
Oh,
We were talking, yeah, like
this is
anyone
not
like,
sympathy.
no,
Not
not
sympathy at
that it's
all.
sympathy
Yeah.
or anything like that, but like I don't have any like I don't even get any like I don't get any pleasure off of Joe Rogan going on podcast now and after the fact because the damage now has been done. So like it's no longer even comedic for me in these moments with these specific people that
Hmm.
played a part in the erasure of my people's history, in the uh in making life more difficult for people who look like me, for
Yeah.
people who earn, in my tax bracket and below, for just the everyday person that just wants to do right by the family. You know what I mean? Like, we grew up in an era where it's not like when you graduate college you were guaranteed a job. That was the generation before us. But we grew up in an era where it was like, okay, we're not the boomer age where you graduate college, you get a job guaranteed, whatever. But we are in an age where you graduate, you get a job, and you find yourself a home, maybe get married, have a couple of kids. Your life will be set. You will have certain things out of life that maybe you don't get as a career bachelor, or by somebody that doesn't go into this life looking to own something, looking to create a legacy, looking to create generational wealth. Well, now there is no real benefit to home ownership because the loans are so out of whack, and the interest rates are so absolutely ridiculous that the price of houses is through the roof. And barring another market crash like we saw in, like, what was it, 2010 or 2007, whatever it was, the housing market crash.
2020.
Yeah, like, we won't get another opportunity where houses will cost what they probably should cost. And, like, that's just the reality of things that we have to live in. I am paying more now for mortgage than I've ever had to pay for rent, and then I would probably pay for rent in a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bathroom apartment. That's just the way that life has stacked up.
Hmm.
And in a similar scenario that I would have been in houses I was looking at pre-pandemic, I'm talking about February of 2020, before the pandemic officially hit quarantine
I remember you
status.
told me, yeah. Yeah.
I was looking at a townhome, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, multiple floors, new furnace, gated community, everything, all new kitchen appliances and all of that stuff. $125,000 for the house. My monthly mortgage was going to be less than $800, and my interest rate was approved at 2.3.
Hmm. What a time.
If someone told you 2.3 right now, shit. You know what I'm saying? If someone told you
They'd be like, give me the pen
4.3
level
right
side
now,
right
you'd
now.
be
Look,
like,
give
give
me
me the pen. I don't give a fuck
that.
how much you approving me for.
Yeah.
I'll take that interest rate. It's just the world that we live in is going to shit quickly. So there, I mean, it's just hard. And now, as fathers, um, what legacy can we leave our kids? What things can we leave to our children? So, like, or now I'm just doing the best that I can possibly do, and Jasmine along with me, to make sure that at least when we go, or when we can't afford to do something, that when Arya gets old enough to actually have real wants and needs and desires and goals and dreams, that she can go out there and achieve,
Yeah.
and that go beyond listening to Golden, Golden, Golden for the 50th time on her fucking tablet. Um, no shade to that Oscar winning song. She'll have the means to do those things.
Yeah.
So I'm a pray for our kids, for Coleman, for Arya, for all of our children that we have out there. That life is going to be more difficult, and I hope that we can find a way back. But right now, it doesn't look great.
It doesn't. I yeah, I feel the need to be optimistic,
Yeah,
even if it's just me just being wishful. I feel the need to be optimistic because living in despair just kind of sucks. And yeah, I mean, to your point, we want to be able to leave our kids with something, even if we only thing we can leave them with, right now is just like, hey, I'm just gonna tell you like how the world is. Like, I'm not gonna
hmm
sugarcoat it.
knowledge. Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you how the world is, how it works, and like, here are your options. I can't force you to do anything, but here are the things you absolutely don't want to do. Um, and let chips kind of fall where they may. But for now, man, shout out to everybody who works for TSA that's still showing up to work, because if they didn't show up, man, it would be. It's already
Ugly.
rough. It's already rough. It would be
It would
devastating.
be fucking ugly, bro.
By the way, it's impressive is probably not the right word for it, but it's the only word I can think of. it's pretty impressive to make airports even worse, right? Like airports already
Right.
suck. So
That's
like
like making fucking the DMV worse.
yeah, yeah. Like if
You
you
know?
somehow manage to do that in your
Yeah.
professional capacity, there's a special place in hell for you. Like it's like this is already bad enough. I don't understand how you could make it worse. Shout out to everybody involved.
Right. You know, word up to y'all, man. Like y'all really doing y'all big one. Y'all making it, you know.
Just put
Fucking.
a plaque that said I made airports worse.
I thought you were gonna say that did his big one. That would be
Oh,
great.
that would be a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That could be the
But
top. Did his big
that'll be
one.
right, yeah,
Made
did a big
airports
one.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's what we're gonna start seeing in these lawyer offices and stuff. Is like did his big one. It's like, is this a diploma or did you make this? Is this 8.5 by 11? What the fuck?
Yeah.
This looks like FedEx. I know FedEx Kinkos when I see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah. So what you got for dad rules, Malik?
You know, it's a this is more of a me telling myself something. Hey man, you don't got to raise your voice all the time. It's hard. It's really hard
Yeah.
because I only really have two modes. It's like yelling and just ignoring. Like those are my two modes. I have everything in between is just it just comes and goes.
Right. It's just white noise in between that.
Yeah. So, sometimes I have to remind myself like, hey, he's like 1.5.
Right.
And his like general disposition is to just not listen. Which is the opposite of my general disposition, which is you should be listening to everything I'm saying. It's like,
Right. Because this shit
what?
is important. Right. I'm not
Yeah.
just talking out my ass here, guys. I know what I'm talking about. A little bit.
Yeah. Like the amount of time it took for me to be like, I know you hear me talking to you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's insane. Like the 3 years ago version of myself watching me right now would be like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You were already
Disgusted,
kind of,
honestly.
yeah, like you were already kind of veering into dad mode, but like now you're just like literally full on dad mode. But
Just
sometimes
watching my daughter like actively play me, like and not care that she's doing it, like while she's doing it.
yeah,
And now she's adding the inflection on her voice. So she's flirting with the inflection now. She's picking those. So it's not just repeating what people say.
yeah,
Now it's not just like, okay, daddy. It's like she knows the difference between okay, daddy, and okay. Yeah, got a couple
yeah.
of
That's
those.
tough.
You know
That's
what I
tough.
mean? And you're like,
That's tough. That's tough.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
This is
it's
what we
like
get.
I want to
Teenager
be.
coming up.
Yeah, I want to be better than my parents. I want to be better. You got to just keep telling yourself like, oh, I don't want to do what my parents did.
You got to fight the I told you so at all costs, bro. You got to fight it at
Yeah,
all costs.
yeah.
Because I
But
just I can't have my mom sitting back there just nodding her head like, like no. That pain is way worse.
and the thing is, it's like with the grandparents, be making it worse because it's like, all right, like y'all got to chill the fuck out, all right? Because
Because
y'all
they
be
soft as baby shit now. They're not the same parents that
not even
when you
helping.
were. You know what I'm saying? When you
Not
were a
even helping,
parent, this
making
is
it worse
different.
most times.
Oh yeah, we talked about it on the podcast. My mom with the pacifier fiasco. Like we got Aria off the pacifier, and then she spends like one weekend with my mom. With me and Jasmine, like went out of town for something, and come back, and my mom was like, she just needed it, and it was made it easier for me watching all of my grandkids. I just gave it to her instead of listening to her fuss about it. I'm like, you're not understanding what we're saying to you. Is that she was off that shit. She
Yeah,
didn't
we
need it.
done.
She's
We was done.
asking you
Yeah.
because she knows you'll fold.
Amen.
Every time.
Amen. Amen.
Like a cheap tent. Every time. You know?
God. Yeah. No, you said it. I mic drop. I got nothing to say. What's your dad rule? What's your dad rule? I like how we finished on we're right. I started off by saying I was wrong, and then we finished on I'm right. It's like I need
your
to be
self-awareness. You
better.
definitely
Sometimes
got the
I'm
sliders
wrong.
up on self-awareness today, bro. It's definitely a 99. Your Madden rating on self-awareness is a 99 right now.
It's like, wait a minute. I was right the whole time. Thank you.
It was always me. It is me. Nah. So for me, for my dad rule is just to. It's kind of related to what you were saying, but just kind of take a deep breath before you make any decisions.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna knee jerk like as your kid gets older, your knee jerk reaction is gonna be different than probably the right way to react in a certain scenario or to a certain thing. Um, there's gonna be times where they regress, whether it's a communication regression or you thought they was potty trained, they accidentally pee themselves or wet the bed or whatever it is. Um, you thought you were good with school, and one day they just don't want to go. It's like there's no way this thing fluctuates and it's ever changing, and everybody's a different person. But like, if you just always go with the immediate knee jerk, um, then whether positive or negative, it's not going to really work out in the long run. You got to sometimes just know when to sit back, take a beat, and then come back at it at a position of power. And sometimes that means conceding to them.
It's
Like
true.
there are plenty of times when Arya will like give me some attitude or do something that I know she knows better than to not do, and I could be like, well, in this moment, I can come down to her level and I can reprimand her for what she's doing wrong and this and then the third, or I can try and figure out a way that this is gonna stick. Because I think for me, the most important thing that I've wanted as a larger person, because I'm just bigger than even the average big person, being 6'7" and having such a tiny daughter and probably future tiny kids, thanks to my miniature wife. I think, um, I love you, Jasmine. But it's I don't want my kids to fear me ever.
Mm,
I want them to respect me. I want them to have reverence for the things that I have to say to them. I
yeah.
want them to really listen and internalize, but I don't want them to be afraid of me at all.
I
So
think a little fear, like less like a
a little fear
like a
is fine
very
for
yeah.
like some other people. Like for me, I've never because of my stature. Like it's not
Nah, I
because I
feel
don't
you. I'm
ever want my
kidding.
kid. Like because I'm already a big guy, it just you fearing me feels more different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So um, I've never really wanted those vibes to catch. So I always try and make it a point to calm at a position of calm, um, and try and lead by example. So like I'll say thank you when she does something that she didn't really have a choice to do it anyway, but I'll still say thank you, or I'll say please, or I'll speak to her gently about certain things, and I know when to fluctuate it and be stern. It makes those moments when you do need to be stern and you do need to be firm. You can kind of see her eyes widen up a little bit. She's like, "Oh, he mad for real," and I'm
Mm,
like, "Yeah," because normally I'm this, and now you see me like down at your level, and I'm telling you, I'm like, "What did I just say?" And it's just like this the inflection and the way that you deliver the message will change ultimately the way that it's received and it's internalized, and you just have to figure out what your goal is with your kid, and then think about, is the way that I handle this going to ultimately lead to that goal, or is this like, am I building a stand-up special? Like, am I watching my am I gonna be watching this back on like a parenting vlog and be like, oh man, you look weak here? Like, no, there are probably plenty of times I look like the weak dad or the quote unquote white dad at the store. Let the kid go crazy and do it, but like, I want her to internalize the things that I'm telling her when I do. So, um, all that is to say, just take a beat and make sure that your kid is actually learning how to be a human being, because otherwise they could end up like our commander in chief.
oof.
Yeah. Oof.
Well said.
No.
Well said. Sounds like we had similar weeks with our kids.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a
And it's
it's
only
been a
Tuesday.
doozy. Only Tuesday. It's been a doozy. I loved the vacation. It's back to the grind tomorrow. I'm finna Once we get off here, I'm finna go watch Daredevil. See what that's hitting for. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, we back at it, man. We'll do our best to get you guys a couple in a row weekly.
Yeah.
We've been busy the last couple, but we try not to do it once a month. We'll try and get it to you as weekly as we possibly can. So we thank you guys for your patience. We thank you guys for tuning in when you tune in, sharing when you can share, like, subscribing to the podcast, all of that stuff, and for listening to us ramble on for it's been almost 2 hours now
Yeah.
on the live pod. So We appreciate everybody for rocking with us, man. It's been another episode of the No Rules Podcast. Peace.
Peace. Shout out TSA.